Parvana's Journey, Chapter 8. They walked for 2 days before the food ran out, and then they walked for 2 days more. Parvana's belly had that ache it got when she didn't feed it. It was a mixture of pain and emptiness. Her head felt empty too, and she felt dull and stupid. Hassan wailed the first day after the rice was gone, but by the second day the wail had dwindled to a thin whine, like the sound he had been making when Parvana first found him.
"Hassan needs to rest,"
Asif said. Parvana suspected it was Asif who needed to rest, but he would never admit that. He moved more and more slowly, and his face had the same expression her father's face had when he was in pain. Parvana put Hassan on the ground, then her bundles. She held on to Asif's arm as he sat down. When he was tired, he often slipped and rolled onto his side when he was trying to sit. This embarrassed him and made him grumpy.
"Is there any water left?"
Asif asked. Parvana untied the bundle with the plastic water bottle in it and shook the bottle so Asif could hear that there was still a bit sloshing around. He reached out his hand and she passed it over. She was going to remind him to take it easy, to not drink too much. But what was the point? It didn't make any difference whether Asif took 2 swallows or 1. They still needed to find more water soon. Asif poured a little bit of water into the cap of the bottle. Parvana watched him pour it bit by bit into Hassan's mouth, not spilling any.
"Isn't that good?" he asked. "Would you like some more?"
He gave Hassan 3 capfuls of water before taking a swallow himself. Then he passed the water bottle back to Parvana. "Do you have any brothers or sisters?" Parvana asked Asif. She realized that she didn't know anything about this boy who was traveling with her. She knew he came out of a cave, but she didn't know where he came from before that. She knew he was annoying, but she didn't know why. She didn't know who had hated him enough to tear up his back.
"I'm alone,"
Asif replied shortly. "So am I," Parvana said, "but I've got family somewhere. What about you? Do you have a family somewhere else?" Asif tried to get Hassan to play with his finger, but Hassan didn't seem interested in playing. He didn't seem interested in anything.
"No,"
Asif said finally. "Did they go away? What happened to them?"
"I had a family, now I don't. That's all there is."
He wouldn't say any more, and Parvana wondered why she bothered to ask. She took out her notebook. "Dear Shazia, another day of being hungry with nothing around that looks like food. I don't even know if I am hungry anymore. I'm just tired, and I feel like crying all the time. We're almost out of water, and I don't know what to do. Remember those fairy stories we read in school, where someone taps a magic wand on a rock and water pours out of it, or where someone rubs a lamp and a genie comes out to grant 3 wishes? I believed in that when I was little, but now I know that a rock is just a rock, and that rubbing a lamp only makes it shiny. Maybe when I'm old and spend all my time dreaming in the sun, I'll be able to believe in those things again. But what do I believe in until then?"
"You're not very smart," Asif said, "to be carrying all those things in your bag. It's tiring you out, making you mean. You're stupid."
Parvana slammed down her notebook. "How dare you call me stupid? I have to carry all these things. Who else is going to carry them?"
"I could carry something. I could carry Hassan."
"Don't be silly. You can barely walk."
"I could carry him on my back. It's not so sore now."
Asif took off his blanket shawl and tied it into a sort of a sling.
"Hassan can sit in here, and I'll tie this end around my neck."
Parvana thought of her aching arms. "Do you think it will work?"
"Of course it will work. I've been thinking about it for a while."
They tried it out. Parvana had to help Asif stand, and she had to tie the baby sling on him, but it did appear to work all right. Hassan didn't seem to care. He whimpered, but he whimpered when Parvana carried him too, so she didn't think it was because he was on Asif's back instead of in her arms. Asif could still manage his crutches with the baby on his back, so the 3 children moved on. They followed a dirt road because it was flat and easier to walk on. Sometimes a truck went by, or a donkey cart, but although Parvana waved for them to stop, they just kept going. Toward the end of the day, they came to a tiny village almost as small as the one Hassan had come from. This one hadn't been bombed, or, if it had, the people had long since rebuilt it. Old men sat on the ground outside their homes, shading their eyes from the sun as they watched Parvana, Asif, and Hassan move slowly down the middle of the road that ran through the village. Parvana felt uncomfortable with their eyes on her, but there was nothing she could do about it.
"Do you think we should ask them for water?"
she whispered to Asif.
"They don't look very friendly. They might ask a lot of questions and make trouble for us,"
Asif said.
"Let's see if we can find someone else to ask. Maybe we can find a child."
They saw a few small boys playing with an oddly shaped soccer ball. There wasn't enough air in it, and it didn't go very far when they kicked it.
"Where can we get water from?"
Asif asked them.
"There's a tea house down there," one of the soccer players said. "Do you want to play with us?" "I'm thirsty," Asif said. "Maybe later."
The boys went back to their game. Parvana and Asif walked a little farther down the road and came to the tea shop. "We don't have any money," Parvana said. "We'll have to beg."
"I don't beg," Asif said. "I can work."
Parvana sighed. She was too tired to work. Begging would have been much easier. The tea shop was a little mud hut with a few tables in it. There were 3 men inside, sitting in silence. A large tea urn was at one end of the room. Shazia had been a tea boy back in Kabul, running around the marketplace delivering trays full of cups of tea to merchants in their stalls. But there didn't seem a need for that sort of person in this village.
"We're looking for work,"
Asif said. One of the men shifted in the chair.
"There's no work here, boy. Do you think we'd be sitting still if there was work available?"
"We'll do anything," Parvana said. "And you don't have to pay us. Just give us something to eat and drink." The man took a swallow of tea and took his time answering, as though Parvana and Asif were well-fed children asking for work for the fun of it.
"You can't work,"
he finally said, looking at Asif. "My brother will look after the baby," Parvana said quickly. "I can do the work of 2.
"What is your name?"
the man asked. "Kasim," Parvana replied, giving her boy name.
"My chicken house needs cleaning," he said. "If you do a good job of that, I'll give you some food, but then you'll have to be on your way. I have only 1 chicken house, and I'm not about to give away food for free."
The chicken house stood at the back of the small yard. It was filthy.
"There's water there if you want a drink,"
the man said, pointing at a rain barrel.
"If the water's good enough for the chickens, it's good enough for you. I'll bring you food when you finish the work."
And he went back to his friends. The yard was surrounded by a fence that was falling apart more than it was standing up, although the fence around the chicken house was in good repair. Parvana lifted Hassan off Asif's back and helped the 2 of them settle in a bit of shade under 2 scraggly trees. She brought them a ladle of water, but Asif motioned for her to drink first. She emptied the ladle in a second, then filled it again. Asif gave some to Hassan before drinking himself. Parvana thought of the chickens that had bullied her in the bombed-out village. She wasn't in the mood to be bullied today, and the chickens seemed to sense that. They scurried out of her way. She worked steadily, scraping away chicken muck with an old board and pushing filthy straw out into the yard, trying not to get too much muck on herself. As soon as she got the job done, they could eat. Nestled in some straw, she found some eggs the owner had forgotten to collect. How could she take them? They would show and probably break if she put them in her pocket. She looked over at Asif, asleep with Hassan, using their blanket bundle as a pillow. Parvana looked around. It was wrong to steal. She had seen what happened to thieves under Taliban law. They had their hands cut off. She didn't want that to happen to her, but she did want those eggs. She cupped the eggs in her hands and checked to make sure the coast was clear. She would dash across the yard, tuck the eggs into the blanket bundle, and dash back into the henhouse. But she couldn't do it. Her father would not be proud of her if she stole. They were often hungry when they were traveling together, and although the opportunity to steal came up, her father wouldn't hear of it.
"Our bellies will be full tonight," he would say, "but could we live with ourselves in the morning?"
Parvana put the eggs back and went back to cleaning the henhouse. It was filthy, but at least it was small, and soon she was finished.
"Here is your food,"
the man said, bringing a small bowl of rice into the yard. There are 3 of us, Parvana said.
But only one of you work. Do I look like a rich man?
You are richer than we are. We are children.
If I help all the hungry children in Afghanistan, I would soon be as poor as you. If you don't want the rice, I'll take it away.
We want it, Asif said, but the man stood there and held the bowl just out of Asif's reach. Please, Asif said, can we please have the rice? Parvana could see his hand trembling. The man finally handed the bowl to Asif, then went back inside. The children shared the small amount of rice, eating in grim silence. It didn't take long to empty the bowl. Then Parvana filled their water bottles, and Asif rinsed out a few diapers for Hassan. Grown-ups shouldn't turn their backs on children, he said angrily as he squeezed water out of the diapers. I wish I had taken those eggs of his, Parvana muttered, casting a dark look at the tea house. Go and get them now, Asif said. It's too risky. Then we'll come back. They found a spot at the edge of town where they couldn't be seen. They spread the diapers out to dry and waited until night came. Leaving Hassan asleep in the hiding spot with their belongings, Parvana and Asif snuck back into the village and into the backyard of the tea house. Parvana found the eggs she had left behind and put them into her shoulder bag next to her letters to Shazia. Asif, moving slowly, picked up a chicken so smoothly and calmly that the chicken didn't even squawk. He put his shawl around it and handed it to Parvana. Then they crept out of the yard. On the edge of the village, they picked up Hassan and their belongings and kept walking until the village was far behind them. People who cheat children deserve to have bad things happen to them, Parvana said. I don't feel the least bit sorry. Eggs for breakfast, said Asif. Then they laughed.